today?
Well, tonight we are under the banner of the Old Walnut Plaza Business Intelligence Center, which is a home to the Old Walnut Plaza Business Incubator. And we've invited our partners to come in tonight for a night of celebration, fellowship, in the holiday spirit. And tonight we're just going to network. We call it a business mixer and a holiday celebration. But we're going to network and we're going to debrief and talk about some of the great outcomes that came out of our 6th Annual Economic Mobility Summit that we just had a few weeks ago here at Old Walnut Street. We're going to reflect on the lessons that came out of that. And we're also going to chart a future course of engagement with our service programs, our course catalog for the 2023 kickoff that's just a few weeks away. The new year is coming at us, and so we're going to be presenting tonight our plans for entrepreneurship development coming out of the Business Intelligence Center in collaboration with multiple partners. So we're expecting a great turnout of partners tonight, and we're going to have fellowship. Come on in. And I just want to start with a word of welcome. I'm glad you could make time to be with us tonight. I know that there's a lot going on in everybody's lives, but we're going to kick this thing off tonight, and I expect we're going to have a great experience tonight. My name is Kevin Fields. I'm President and CEO at Louisville Central Community Center, and tonight we're here under the banner of our Old Walnut Plaza Business Intelligence Center and all the partners that represent the work that we're advancing through our Business Intelligence Center, which is all about entrepreneurship and economic empowerment. So tonight we do have a program that's very brief, very informal, hopefully very engaging, because we do want you to weigh in on the work. This is still a work in progress. We're still developing, but we're going to do it in a very collaborative way. Just to give you a little bit of history, and I'm not going to give you the same timeline that you're going to get in the overview, but Old Walnut Plaza, actually, we opened our doors initially in 2012 here when we, as a corporation, moved into this campus at 1300 Ali, and at the time we were still building on the incubator in the plaza. And then as time went on, in 2018, we actually started leasing out those spaces and started moving in, and we've had some great success with bringing businesses, predominantly minority, black-owned businesses, to locate here. And I'm really excited that as of this year, as of this month, we've reached 100% occupancy in all of our spaces in Old Walnut Plaza. But I must admit, one of the things we've learned in terms of being a landlord to businesses is that it's a dynamic process. Things are always changing. People come, people go, and there is a revolving door effect. We have people moving out, but the good news is the demand is high enough, and the opportunity and the means and the resources are available to support businesses so that they can locate here and be successful. So we've been in that business of making this small business incubator that we call the Old Walnut Plaza go. But as of this past May, in partnership with many entities, including the Rotary Club of Louisville, SCORE, the SBA, the Small Business Development Center, Louisville Forward, and the list goes on. We back in May, we opened up our what we call Business Intelligence Center. So it was an opportunity for us to move beyond just being a landlord for business development and entrepreneurs to locate here, but then we want to give them support services and some wraparound supports, and to really help them to be viable. So that's what Old Walnut Plaza and Old Walnut Plaza Business Intelligence Center is envisioned to do. So we started in May. We've had great success. Tom Criminals with Score was one of our first workshop series. We completed that, had great response, great attendance. We worked with Sharon Jones, with Rhonda Jones, sorry, with SBDC. Another successful series focusing on financial education with small businesses. Sharon Johnson, who just comes in the room, did a series of events with us, first with a session on a project that SBA does called Thrive. And then we've also partnered SBA with some other initiatives, working with Tiffany Williams of Eternal Realty, and really had a great experience with the 5 C's of credit, helping entrepreneurs to be credit worthy and to be able to access capital. So all of that happened in just a few short months after we opened in May. But then we, from there, got right into the process of planning our 6th annual Economic Mobility Summit, which most of you who are here today were there as a part of that. So I certainly want to say thank you to everybody who was a part of the planning committee, who was a part of the production team, who served on panels, and really made that event go. And so far the feedback has been great, but a part of the program tonight is to let you know what we learned out of that. Because part of doing these community engagements is to empower community voice so that we can learn what the issues are more substantially, more empirically. And we've done that. We've started to collect that data, analyze that data, get the lessons and the nuggets of knowledge out of it that helps to inform us, helps to empower our work, but also helps us to continue to build this network of partners. So I just want to say, that's what we're here for tonight. We are going to reflect on what we learned in the summit. So there is a period of reflection, but from there we're going to talk about what's, the future for the next iteration of services that we're going to offer. But the thing that I'm really, really excited about is you're going to hear from Devon Hankins, who has joined us as our entrepreneur in residence. I'm really excited about what Devon has done in just a short period of time. And you're going to hear that tonight. This new trademarked concept. And you talk about innovation, right? We're creating some innovative ideas, but ideation to launch. Ideation to launch is a new model that we've crafted. We started our thinking with that same idea. When you look at the bubble map in the BIC, you will see 6 bubbles that talks about, we want to take individuals from idea to launch. But Devon has put her expertise and her spin on it, and now we've got 8 phases, and that has a lot to do with the research and the data we've collected and the expertise that she brings. We got 8-phase process of engaging entrepreneurs, and I'm really excited about ideation to launch. So we want that to be a part of the lexicon, a part of the language that we're all talking about as partners, is this model of ideation to launch, and how that will be an innovative way to create more entrepreneurs. The case statement behind why we're doing this work is really simple. Everybody knows it, but because we're documenting this, I just have to restate it, the obvious. There is a tremendous problem that needs to be solved, a wealth gap compounded by just huge disparities when it comes to economic empowerment, economic viability. The easiest example to articulate that is to say that in this market of Louisville, Jefferson County, the African American community, and you add in the Hispanic Latino community and other minorities, we're probably approaching 25% of the population. And we're becoming more and more diverse as a population. But when you look at who owns businesses, we're down in the low single digits, right? So we're talking about a 10 point disparity, that we need to address. So that starts with just, we got to change the mindset. We got to create a new culture in our community. And we got to create a mindset that suggests that everybody is an entrepreneur, or at least has the potential to be an entrepreneur. And so what we want to do is create a system that puts everybody on that pathway to where you can come in with that idea, and to use Devon's example, I hope I'm not stealing her remarks, but you can come in with an idea on a napkin, and that you can get the kind of supports that you need to take that from an idea written on a napkin to launch a business. And that's what this whole ideation to launch model is conceived to do. We want to be, in the community at the earliest point of conception when it comes to new entrepreneurs. We know that we are part of a broader ecosystem. There's other people doing entrepreneurial development, incubators, accelerators, a lot of special initiatives, and we're proud to be a part of that ecosystem. We're proud to be collaborating with all of those entities. But we also want to make sure that we can create ground floor opportunities for anybody in our community that can come in and get on a pathway of success. So I'm going to stop with that as a welcome. We don't have an MC, so I don't know what's next on the agenda. But I do want to actually introduce Devon, and also we're going to introduce ourselves on the collective. Everybody gets a chance to introduce themselves. And then we're going to go through the overview of the presentation, which includes, again, some of the lessons we learned out of the summit. And that's still a work in process. There's still research that's underway to collect data, analyze data. And I really want to thank Melissa Birch, our executive assistant, who has been our resident expert of collecting this data, calling through this data, watching hours of video, catching key points that people like Matthew Harold and Dave Christopher and all the other panelists that you're going to learn about. They gave us their expert opinion about the state of entrepreneurship, the state of economic development in this market. And so we've been calling through that data just to get gleaning out, the right nuggets of information and give us a good baseline of perspective. But then the goal is going to be to change the mindset, to grow the mindset to where more people can think and be and achieve entrepreneurship to the fullest extent. So with that,
like Kevin said, I am Devon Hankins. I am the CEO of Ascension Strategies, and we are a consulting and coaching firm. We focus primarily on working with emerging startups as well as professionals, and we do executive coaching. So I'm just really excited to bring to bear all of my experience and knowledge and hard-won wisdom to the work that the LCCC is doing, particularly in the Business Intelligence Center. So with that said, giving people an opportunity to go get something to eat, because we're not that formal here, I'll go ahead and have staff introduce themselves, Kevin.
Sure.
And then that gives you guys opportunity to go ahead and grab something to eat, okay? I've been munching on the cheese, so it's delicious, okay? All right. And Kevin wouldn't let me get mine because he said I was presenting, so I had to behave myself. All right. So Melissa, if you could start. Then.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melissa Birch, and I am the executive assistant here at LCCC.
And she has put up with me for the last 2 months now. So, and I haven't driven her crazy yet. So I'm working on it. I think I'm close, but I don't know. So she's been wonderful to me.
Hi, my name is Deborah Grant. I'm the Director of Operations at Louisville.
we're going to thank Deborah for everything that's set up here. So I'm sure she wants you to enjoy it, right, Deb?
I've already got it.
I'm Ben Ruiz. I'm a Vista CIA Community Impact Ambassador. I wore my little pin today with AmeriCorps. So I do creative direction under the direction of Melissa, Kevin, and now you.
Trying to build our capacity and enjoy working with everybody in the group.
I'm working with LCCC on youth programming for the upcoming year.
And I also work with LCC as an associate, and I kind of fill in the gaps where needed, like pouring wine.
I'm working with LCCC on youth programming for the upcoming year.
Everyone, I feel so honored being here. I am a receptionist in BIC 129, and I'm getting a whole lot of experience.
I'm sorry.
Have Michael Ballard introduce himself. Michael just joined our team as our CBI consultant. Michael?
How y'all doing? Michael Ballard. And I wasn't expecting to have to say that.
The entire staff, and I'm looking forward to, do I have one more? Who am I missing?
Mr. Bennett is the longest.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to catch us up a little bit. If I'm moving too fast, you guys just slow me down, okay? I just wanna be mindful of everybody's time. We've got a slide show prepared for you all. And so we're just gonna kind of walk through that. I'm not the type of presenter that's gonna read everything on the slide, so I'll give you time to kind of consume the information there. Kevin has already kind of gone through the history of LLC, but what you see here are just some key milestones that we're very proud of. And in fact, next year, we'll be celebrating our 75th anniversary. So you all need to look forward to hearing lots of activities that the team's planning to celebrate our 75th. As Kevin talked about, we had our 6th annual West Louisville Economic Mobility Summit, and it was well attended. We were really excited. Here, and you'll see a picture of some of our panelists. We had two panels and then a keynote speaker. And so what you'll see follows are just some recaps. Melissa has done a wonderful job of capturing most of the conversation. When you talked about the entrepreneurship panel, it was a really robust conversation. People were very honest and straightforward about their thoughts of what was going on in the community and what was not going on well in the community. And I think for me, some of the things that really stood out is that although progress has been made, we still have work to do. And a lot of folks kind of gave us feedback on specific areas that the team is going to take in and try to begin developing our programs and services around addressing a number of those issues. I think for me, as a coach and a consultant in the entrepreneurial space, one thing that really hit me was a comment that was made about in working with entrepreneurs, particularly in the communities of color, is changing the mindset of being a hustler rather than an entrepreneur. And the way you approach your business heavily depends on your perspective. And that the conversation came around pricing and how people had trouble pricing and how they were quick to give a deep discount because they weren't sure that their service or their product had value. And a lot of that lent itself towards the mentality that they had of themselves, that they had taken that side hustle, right, and they had decided to formalize it, but they still were not seeing themselves as entrepreneurs. And so that's also something that we want to tackle and begin to understand the psychology of being in business, right? Another thing that kind of struck me as I sat through the meetings or the panel was the talk of capital investment. And we've talked a lot about working on improving access to capital. And in this space, there have been some improvements, but I would push back and say even though you have access to capital, if you don't know how to engage that access to capital, you might as well not have access to capital. And so there's a huge educational gap about how do you utilize your access to capital? How do you actually capitalize upon it? How do you go ahead and gain capital without losing ownership of your intellectual property? And oftentimes what happens is just that. In our communities of color, for our entrepreneurs of color, often their IP is compromised and they lose control of the very idea that they came up with because of trying to gain capital to afford growth and expansion. Okay. So our keynote speaker was Laura Douglas, and wow, she gave just a phenomenal speech. And she talked about the West End Opportunity Partnership, which is just an absolutely phenomenal effort. And I think there's a lot of excitement about their capability and capacity to really change the ecosystem and the landscape of economic mobility within the 9 neighborhoods. So this is just kind of a recap of some of the top data. I'll just go over some key things based on my experience in government, which is really rare, is that there is a representative from each of the 9 neighborhoods that actually sits on the board, the decision-making body. And I think that is really key. I think the other thing is that there's an annuity component incorporated into this, in that there's a 20% tax incentive that comes back, so it's a renewal of funding. So, you know, they're not having to go to the funding trough, the asking trough, right? And so there's sustainability built in from a financial perspective. Okay. And then we had a set of panelists about economic development. And I think that was a very active one. We had a lot of folks who are expertise in their areas of work that they were doing, and they really were speaking from the heart. And I think, for me, a lot of the comments that came out of this space is that many of the panelists did not see themselves as competitors. They saw themselves as collaborators. And I think that was the biggest thing, that theme kind of echoed throughout not only the keynote speaker, but the 2 panels, is that it was very important that we go after improvements from a collective perspective and not a competitive perspective. And so, again, there's understanding that there's more work that needs to be done in this space, but I think the key here is that a lot of people encouraged and urged that we would be more intentional, be more strategic about what needed to be accomplished, so that everybody could deploy their collective skill sets, their resources, their capability and capacities to move the needle in some specific areas, rather than just taking this splatter shot kind of approach. And so just some key feedbacks from the survey. And you guys can see here, we had 125 people throughout the day. As I roamed around as the newbie on the team, there were just a lot of great conversations that were being had on the side. Entrepreneurs meeting entrepreneurs and sharing their stories, collaborating and having conversations about providing each other with services and products. And so it was a lot of energy there. And so I was really excited to be part of that and see that our entrepreneurs were starting to actually build a community. Okay. What else do we have here? So a couple of takeaways for us for next year's summit is that people wanted to see more diversity when it came to specific issues. So certain communities within the communities of color, that there are some issues that some of the groups felt needed to be addressed directly. Also, they wanted to have some actual breakouts and some workshops. So we just had panels this time around and our award ceremony. So the thought is that we may be looking to expand the summit to include some specific workshops where some of our service providers can actually come in and do some training and educational sessions, and so people can take away some information and data that they, and techniques and best practices back into their businesses to help them grow. Okay. All right. So any questions about the Economic Mobility Summit? Okay. You guys are quiet. All right. Big.
Are you gonna say anything about the awards themselves?
Well, did we, I think we back up. So here's our awardees for the 2022 Sam Watkins Jr. Light the Way Entrepreneurial Excellence Award honorees. I don't think we have the names, but we had several honorees, awardees, and each of them gave very heart-moving speeches about the work that they had done and their journey as entrepreneurs and participants in this space, working towards economic mobility, not only for themselves, but the folks that they serve. Thank you.
You know, I might want to point one thing out. On that very day in October is the exact same day that Tom Edison, right here in Louisville, perfected the incandescent lamp or light bulb back in I forget the exact year, but it was that day in October, which is when the summit was held. The second year, we did it a year before also. So it's very significant because he lit the way. That was the year that GE bought him out and started the GE company here in Louisville also. And we also tied in the fact that we're here on Muhammad Ali Boulevard. Muhammad Ali lit the way in general, and then Sam lit the way for entrepreneurs. So that award is a lantern made out of copper. So it's got a real good value. And we tied it into these three outstanding people here in Louisville, including Sam, who's, taking, paving, lighting the way here in West End. So.
Well, then thank you for
Absolutely.
adding those comments.
Well, one thing, not a question, but if you don't mind going back a few slides, I think it'd be good when you talk about the panels, to talk about the individuals that were on the panels, because I thought we had a great mix, and Matthew's here, and others who witnessed it. I just would like to know if there's any other perspectives that could be shared. That's the economic development panel. I think the one before that is the entrepreneurship panel. But anything that we would want to add about, with that experience? I didn't see Scott back there. Scott Love was one of the panelists.
I think it went really well, and it always has. I think one of the things that I'd love to see going forward is maybe a little more time for Q&A. But I think overall, the approach that was taken, all the time has been wonderful. It's been spot on. But I think we had a lot of questions in the audience. A lot of entrepreneurs are really curious about these topics. I think allowing a little more Q&A. I love where you said that, hey, we're considering having breakout sessions or some workshops. I think that's great. My question was, can we start that work before the next summit? I think that's something we can have some momentum going into the summit, having held these workshops and breakouts ahead of time.
I think I just done. If anybody knows anything about me, I'm a certified project manager and trainer. So every time Kevin gives me a task, I'm like, okay, let's set the timeline. We got to allocate resources. Like, what am I working here with? So I appreciate your input and your feedback and encouragement for moving in that direction.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, Scott.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, you know, as participating as a panelist, the one thing that I really enjoyed was the ability to network with people that, you know, I had heard about doing good work, but never had an opportunity to meet in a very specific environment, to where we're talking about how we collaborate, how we support, how do we grow, and how do I share my access with you so that you then have access to the same things that I have. So, you know, what I found particularly in development is collaboration is key to success, right? And being in a room with other like-minded entrepreneurs, particularly Black entrepreneurs, we've got a very specific vision, but we also have a very specific set of circumstances that a lot of entrepreneurs don't have. And to be in a room where you can network and learn how to overcome some of those obstacles was hugely impactful for me. As a matter of fact, I'm still using some of that stuff that we learned that day.
And I think for me, on a personal note, that was probably the most powerful thing, this understanding that we did not need to compete, we needed to share more, right? And a lot of times, you know, when I'm out in the community and I'm working, you know, and people start talking about, oh, well, I don't know if I want to share that resource with so-and-so, and I don't want anybody to know what I'm doing, and I'm thinking, you know, this is the mentality of lack, and I think that concept came up. But it's like, you know, they're like, I want my piece of the pie. And I pushed back and I said, well, wait a minute. There's no pie, first of all, you need to understand. And if you want your slice of the pie, then you are only getting a small sliver. I, quite frankly, want the pie-making company. So, you know, you have to come at it from that. And I think just changing the mindset, right, when a person steps into this space, right, because the world will tell you that you have to be competitive and you've got to drive through, and that is not the world of today after the pandemic, right? It's all about collaboration and collective impact, right? That we're held accountable for, but that we can show performance for, correct? And that was another thing that came out, and I think it was in you all's panel, where they were talking about performance-based lending, right? And I think that's just another key thing. Is it more challenging? Yes, but it's better for the entrepreneur in the long run, you know? So anyway, thank you all for your input. You don't get to, remember we talked about this.
Well, I know we're going to do a couple more things, but I wanted to put some people on the spot. Keisha Allen moderated key segment of the program with our keynotes and her role as leading economic development in West Louisville for Metro government. Certainly want her perspective, but also others that were part of the planning team. You know, this is an opportunity to set the stage for planning next year. I appreciate Scott Love's comment about, you know, getting ahead of the curve. And that's part of the intent of tonight, is we're already thinking about 2023, and you're going to hear about some early plans for 2023, but we really want to project the whole year in terms of how this group can stay together and have more collective impact. So, Keisha.
Also been able to pass off some of the resources that I have made at the event already, so I thought that was really impactful. One of the things, I think that maybe shortening our panels, and I think I had said this before, and making sure that our resource partners are getting seen, like the tables that we had in the back, that people have the opportunity to go back and see them. We announced them, because I didn't see a lot of activity happening with the people that was on the outskirts, so that was just something for improvement. But I thought it was a great panel. I thought it was a nice mix of people. Having the workshops, I think that could be a good idea as an alternative for people if they were interested in them, not necessarily that they have to go to them, but having that option there that day, I think that's a good idea too. And just being able to get more organizations involved in this so people can know what we're doing in the West End. Because a lot of people want to help out, they just don't know what angle to take and who to reach out to. So just more marketing for other organizations to maybe send some of their keep people down to be a part of a summit. So that's what I think.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. The topic that we should go from hustler, the mindset of hustler to entrepreneur. I would think maybe we should go from hustler to business leader. So maybe that's the approach we need to look at. Like, we're all entrepreneurs at some level. It's just we're probably a little bit more. At least we should think large scale. Business leader, I think, is better, with my opinion.
I like that.
From the perspective of the summit, I agree. I think vendors, if we would have allocated them a few minutes, 30 seconds, a minute to go on stage in between breaks, I think it probably broke some of the ice of people walking up to you. I'm uncertain, what are they offering me? I think that would have helped us out. I know at our table we use a little bit of force, if you will, and enticing, hey, check this out. I think if we would have had a few minutes, maybe more people would have came to our table. And I think a technology presentation or a workshop, I think we kind of missed the ball on the technology piece. As an entrepreneur, I think we should all be focused on technology. And I think that definitely a workshop, or at least a presentation, I think something that could benefit us in the long run. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Now be prepared to hear from me.
Oh, send it. I'm ready.
Starting a business, we started a business 52 years ago, me and Mr. Ben over there, and none of these classes that you're offering here at LCC were around. You had to trip and fall and pull up your pants and go over again. Here we have classes that'll teach you about taxes, about marketing, about all the taxes, and you know, you hear me saying tax, because that's where you need to know what's going on. And we have those classes here. You need to tell other friends, come and learn before you get into this. You know, because people do it the other way around. They put the cart before the horse, and then they're wondering what happened. Look what I got hit with, and this and that. You need to have the education, or at least the information to you, which was never there before years ago. And we offer that here. So I'm say, whoever you know wants to go into business, tell them to come to the classes. There's Zoom classes you can see at night, and we'll help you to get to where you're going, because maybe at the end of the road you're going to say, nah, I think I'll keep my job. You know, because you don't want to handle all that. So I'll ask you also, each of you that has a business card, can you leave it on the table, so we have your information, that we can make sure you get the information you need, and the classes that are going on, and all the celebrations we have here. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
And Stacy Wade, I remember Stacy when he first started out. I think new entrepreneurs need to connect with the veterans. You had Alwyn Helton, another staple in the community. You've got these guys that are staples in the community. I think what the community needs right now is people like them that can lead the workshops, and other new startups could actually be a sponge. And that would help a lot. In addition to that, I want to mention, I work for SBA, so with the President Biden and Kamala Harris, I'm working on ways to have access to capital. We understand that there's underserved communities, so they're trying to loosen up some requirements with bankers. So more to come, but I wanted to mention that as well.
Thank you so much. There's a lot of value that comes from there. I think what I would call a wisdom session, right, for emerging startups, to be able to sit down at the feet of some of these folks who got through it the hard way and can really talk about things. I think it really takes somebody who's already been there and done that the right way, the kind of wrong way, the hard way, to say it's okay, right? You fall forward, right? And to have someone who's made it to be able to share that wisdom with you, I think it keeps you going on those days that you're ready to literally throw in the towel. So thank you. I really like that push. So these are great things to incorporate. Anyone, you all had something here.
I did, I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Deja Downey. I am the Chief of Partnerships for the Visual Marketing Consulting. I want to provide some feedback around it because one of my clients is Melanie Marketplace. They was the ones that facilitated a lot of different vendor options for the event. So I came to spectate, do grills and different social media content. One of the biggest things I would say is that I would want to to add additional input on the social media aspect. Okay. Definitely through countdowns for the event, highlighting a lot of the different honorees in different ways, faster, if you will, and then more frequently. Social media is key right now. So between now and then the event coming up soon next year, how can LCCC and the other partners definitely help amplify what's soon to come? So that's just building momentum consistently and giving more bios with the people as well. I think that's just.
Do you do that?
I
Do that kind of work?
So, did you
So
have
when
that?
I
See that? Okay. You spoke up, it's done. If you speak up in this room, it's over. I have
So
it.
it's super important because social media, a lot of people aren't even watching TV right now. They're not listening to radio. They're only on social media. They're watching reels. They're literally on there scrolling and scrolling until they fall asleep. So that is the way, and that's where everybody's going in the digital space. So.
And she has a grant that she also has a grant. They should tell them about your grant.
Oh,
I
thanks.
sent the flyer out today.
Hi,
Tell them about
everybody.
that.
Yeah. So we actually have a workshop coming up, strategic goal planning workshop, December 17th at Simmons College of Kentucky. And what it is a workshop that helps entrepreneurs plan out their 2023 year in a very strategic mindset and standpoint. So we have Ms. Jamie Keefe leading one of the workshops, LaShawn Andrews is Marshall now. She's gonna be leading one of the workshops, and then also Latoya Bradley with Ruin Sales.
And Brother
Scott
Love
is going to be presenting on there as well. But we just want to be able to have a very large amount of resources for people as well. But the grant, let's talk about the grant. So my company this year is going to be giving away 2 $5,000 marketing grants that will help with a lot of things we just talked about for 3 months. Social SEO optimization. It also will go into how to have your press kit ready, and then also like your headshot for your business as well. And then also they go through workshops with us as well. The reason why I did $5,000 one for a nonprofit, one for a for-profit, is because of the fact when I started my business, I asked my parents, of course, for $5,000. They looked at me like, yeah, you're not getting that. And then just really provide resources so that grant will be applied to those resources to pay for them. So, yes, that will be
amazing.
Yeah.
That's
for
so
profit.
cool.
Yeah. One for profit, one nonprofit.
No, I'm for profit.
Oh, yeah, you can go to the website and apply right there.
You've got to apply.
You got to apply.
No word.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Excellent.
I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
You had
comment.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just gonna say, just going back to the workshops, if I was thinking to have like lunch and learn series here at LCC, just a way to network and the entrepreneurship, and then maybe even a speaker series. Have speaker series come, some of these key leaderships of the community, have a speaker reception, and just kind of have things like that.
Excellent.
Can I just say one more thing?
No. Okay,
Please.
yes.
Yes.
You
Name
are,
and-
yes.
You-
That
Thank
was
you,
next.
Andy.
You guys are just sabotaging my agenda. No, I love this. I love this. Why don't we start at this corner? I'm gonna catch you off guard. Right there. She's not to give us your name and the organization you belong to, and if there's a service or product that you'd like to tell us about, please feel free to do so.
Okay. My name is Rhonda Gummer. I'm here as a guest, and it's interesting to be sitting in this group. I actually did my internship for my master's degree about 20 years ago with Louisville Central Community Center, and just to come back and sit in a setting such as this is a great honor.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Rhonda. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
good
too.
to see you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott Love. I serve as Executive Director of Local Initiatives Support Corporation. We're a national CDFI with a local office here. So a pleasure to see everyone this evening. A lot of familiar faces.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Harrell. I'm the CEO of APK Development and Construction. We are an MBE certified developer and construction company here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Hello, everyone. My name is Omar Hayash. Excuse me. I'm President and CEO of the Kentucky World Trade Center, and I also teach entrepreneurship in the MBA program at the University of Kentucky.
Omar, thank you for coming. Good to see you. Yeah. I already introduced myself, but I'm an old friend of Omar's, so I'm honored to be next to him. Yes. So thank you.
So it's me, okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenny Wade. Thank you for having me. I'm here as a guest with Mr. Kevin Fields. I'm also the CEO and founder of Cycle Breakers Breaking Chains Incorporated. And basically what my organization is, I'm offering the solution to the crisis of gun violence that we are experiencing here in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm also a master level social worker / therapist and a parent of a gun violence survivor, and I'm passionate about the work I'm doing, and I'm glad to be here this evening among everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Abel. I'm with PNC. I lead the Minority Business Banking Group for Kentucky and Ohio. Within our group, we're a little bit different than traditional business banking. We start from the education piece, so we work with minority business owners to make sure they have their financials together, business plans, so then we present their package to underwriting. We have a good solid foundation, so we kind of, give them that access to credit and capital.
All right. Hi, I'm Christine Cosby Gaither. I'm with Halo Media. We are a PR agency here in Louisville, so we focus on media and community relations. In addition, excuse me, I'm just getting my voice back. But in addition to that, I am the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called A Stroke of Grace, where we support and advocate for Black stroke survivors.
And she's Kevin Cosby's daughter.
Today, I am.
Today, I'm with Volunteers of America Mid-States, and my title is Senior Director of VOA Justice. But in my daily life, I oversee the restorative justice projects here in Jefferson County and 2 other sites across the state. And I've been in social work, I'm not going to say how many years. And I'm also a licensed marriage and family therapist.
My name is Keisha Allen, and I'm the Senior Economic Development Manager for West Louisville. And basically what that means is that I'm a liaison for the community, back to the resources that Metro have and any other resource partners that we have in our community. I like to use the 3 C's. I connect, I communicate, and I convene meetings together so we can do awesome things in the West Louisville community.
I'm here primarily with SCORE, a little bit with Rotary, and I've had the pleasure of working with Herb and Maggie and the team in working to put on our SCORE workshop series I guess it was last summer, and looking forward to doing more of that. By way of a little bit of background, I've been pretty active with SCORE the last couple of years, but as Scott Love knows, I've spent 25 years as a franchise consultant, so I've helped people get into business through franchising for years, and this is a little bit my way of continuing to do the stuff that I've always done in retirement.
I've been in corporate America all my career. Thanks to Kevin, I got involved with the BIC. I've enjoyed the opportunity to get around entrepreneurs, learning different techniques. The thing that I would say is like, it's business, so everything seems to be pretty much the same. And I enjoy just the collaboration that I've enjoyed for the last 30 years, but now there's individuals in the community that, so let's keep pushing, right?
Hello everyone, I'm Sharon Johnson. I've been doing this for quite some time. I'm now currently with SBA, which is Small Business Administration. Our goal is to help you grow, start, and expand your business. In addition to that, I work with Kevin. It's a privilege, it's an honor. We're doing a series of workshops. Y'all mentioned access to capital. That's been an issue for my whole career. So my goal is to provide some workshops here locally in the West End, where I'm from. And one of the workshops we provide, I'm partnering with one of your tenants, is 5 C's to credit. Then we're going to go on with certification and other things too, to make sure that our community knows how to connect the dots. Not only that, to provide the education that they need, because that's critical. I've seen businesses go up and start and then close, because it's just, like you said, technology is key. Not only that, it's just learning to lean out, learning how to connect with other people and collaborate. That's key as well. But thank you for the opportunity. Kevin Fields.
Hello everyone, I'm Jacqueline Williams, and I also work at the University of Louisville with Jose at the Digital Transformation Center. And so my short story is I come from a technology and HR background, a marriage of the two, if you will. And I'm excited as we roll out more digital acumen opportunities within the entrepreneurship and workforce development initiatives that are so hot right now. So thank you all. We're here on behalf of Dr. Carrick and her team, again from U of L.
I've heard y'all. I've liked what I heard. And I ain't never learned nothing talk. So be quiet.
I think I might have come here so I could have a tour, and the rest is history. So thank everybody for introducing themselves. I'm going to go ahead and kind of start with the Business Intelligence Center. It is LCCC's business incubator. And the team here started, the concept of it was to support entrepreneurs, okay, at pretty much at all levels. And without any funding, they put that idea into motion. And so in May of 2022, they allocated space here at Old Walnut Plaza and began working with community service providers to start providing key aspects of training and development for entrepreneurs. And so, obviously we're looking at communities of color, we're talking about economic mobility, but it's also about being able to develop the entrepreneur and help them evolve their business. And, to your point, Karen, that, entrepreneurs come and go. This is also about sustainability. So when Kevin talks about mentorship, and we talked about the wisdom, right? Pairing wisdom with the newfound entrepreneur. It's to make sure that if we start something, okay, that closing that gap is not just about pushing them out the door and saying, hey, we wish you well, and that you grow. It's about continuing on with them on that journey, that as they grow and scale, they can always have a space to come back to resource. And if they don't know where to get it, we surely will, okay? So, again, I'm not going to read all the way through the slide, but you get the intent of where we're going. Again, who we serve, startups. And I'll get into the model that I've co-created with Kevin. But the point is to meet the entrepreneur where they are. And he was teasing me about the fact that I literally mean whether you have a paper napkin that you've scribbled something on, okay, or you're ready to actually start talking to people to get financing, we are here for you, okay? And we're going to structure that model so that everybody's able to tap into the resources that they need. I think one of the key things from an education and training perspective, a young, when I say young, new entrepreneur rarely understands what skill sets they need and at what level they need that skill set. And so there's no sense in introducing me to a whole new lexicon of financial terms, okay, if I don't even understand that I should be keeping some books somewhere. And so it's really trying to meet them where they are and not overwhelm people, okay? Because it's easy to quit in this space. It's easy to quit because it's unlike anything else that folks experience. Everything around us is structured for us to work for somebody else. And so to learn the skills that you need to work for yourself, those are missing. And that's why everyone in this room is involved in the work that they do, okay? One of the big things and the key things to this, and hold on, I stand in the lost way. One of the key things about the model that we're developing is we have decided that even though we're an incubator, okay, what we've baked into this model is a bit of acceleration support. So, one of the things we had to first do was to sit down and say, okay, we're a business incubator, meaning we provide support to entrepreneurs. We can give you space. We can provide you resources. But it's really walking with the entrepreneur on their journey. That's the accelerator piece. And so we've incorporated some of that. And so what we've decided is to expand on the model that, or the process that Kevin ideated on, and we're taking it from, and we're calling it the idea to launch model, okay? It is designed to, again, meet the entrepreneur at any level, okay? And it's to help them not only, achieve their vision, but it's also important to also help them achieve the mission of building wealth, okay? A lot of people go in and say, oh, I want to work my passion, I'll figure out a price, and I hope I make it. But to what end, right? We talked about the psychology of being an entrepreneur or a leader in business. If you don't understand that it is truly a journey, and it is an evolutional journey, then you're going to tap out. And a lot of people don't tell you that when you get into it. The other thing is that, getting people to understand that the easy part is starting. The folks that are veterans will tell you, staying in the game is the hard part, okay? It's easy to go out and get clients, but to be able then to take a look at your operations and figure out how do I scale, right, to receive that growth without being taken under by the very blessing that I've received. So it has to be more than just education and training. It really there has to be a mentoring, coaching component to this, okay? But if you can go back one. So the thing is that we have identified 8 phases, okay? We're looking at this like these are curriculum topics, okay? And what happens is that the entrepreneur steps into the model wherever they are. There's an assessment piece, okay? So we're going to assess the entrepreneur, figure out where they are in the model, okay? And then we're going to plug them in. The goal is for them to matriculate, okay, through the model with the intent that by the time you get to launch, you are really ready to launch. We're not going to have you out there before you're ready. We're going to make sure you have secured everything that you need. That's why this case management piece is so critical, okay? Because you find a lot of people will come, even yourselves as you've provided programs, right? People come, they glean, they take notes, you follow up, but that's it. They can fall off the edge of the earth and you never see them again. So it's also, having someone that's going to check in on you, see how you're doing, asking if you're having problems. If so, how can we help you, right? So to not just monitor, but help diagnose, okay? So, for example, when we talk about matriculating through the model, what you see is phase 1 is ideation and formation. And what comes under that will be a set of courses, right, that cover these topics here, these subtopics. So what we're doing is we're identifying service providers within the community that align some of their services, okay, by their self-evaluation to idea and formation, okay? So, for example, I've been working with Rhonda from the SBDC, and she has an amazing assessment tool that we're going to take a look at that she uses when she has clients come in and she assesses where they are in the entrepreneurial journey. And so we're going to take service providers like that. I'll have one-on-one conversations with them, and what we're going to do is align their various sets of services against each one of these phases. What happens then is that once we've created kind of this matrix of services under each one of these phases, we will set up what we call our calendar course catalog, okay? So let's say you come in at phase 2 and you come in at phase 5, all right? You're going to come onto our website, you're going to go to the calendar, okay? Phase 5 is yellow, okay? And when I put you at phase 2 is red. You're going to go to the calendar, you're going to click red. All the courses that come up underneath red are the courses that you need to be focused on taking, because that is the phase that you are in. So you can have product building, service creation, planning, value proposition design, defining organizational structure, okay? So let's say those are going to be courses, okay, under that curriculum topic. And so once you've taken all those courses, your case manager is going to work with you, make sure everything's going okay, and then you're going to matriculate to the next phase, all right? So the point is by the time the entrepreneur gets from whatever phase they started at, and they get to phase 8, we have trained and developed them thoroughly, okay? So once they step out there, they don't get their cookies eaten, okay? And then we will have follow-up. I'm going to take a break there. This is just a really high-level overview. We've got a lot of work that's happening behind the scenes to get this really fleshed out further. But this is the basic concept of the ideation to launch model, which incorporates the incubator concept as well as the accelerator piece of it, okay? I'm going to stop. Do you guys have any questions?
So how, my biggest concern is with entrepreneurs, especially African-American entrepreneurs, we learn better with working with our hands from a learning style, right? So we read, write, kinesthetic, all those different type of learning styles. So are these courses going to be where you can actually do the modules on your own, like we are pre-recorded? Or are they going to be in person?
So most of these are in person. So like what you're doing with your team, okay? So let's say I'm on phase 2 and I want to focus on product building, and there's a course. Let's say you're providing that, okay?
Right.
I'm going to come and I'm going to take that. I'm going to sign up for that course, and I'm going to sit in on your class, and I'm going to then glean everything. One of the things about what we're doing different here than we have this past year is that there will be key outcomes. Okay, so much like your curriculum, of course, if you get your syllabus at the beginning of the semester, and it says what are you going to come out having learned in this particular course, okay? And how does it apply to advancing you down your entrepreneurial journey? So like I said, there's a lot of work that's going to go behind this, that as we move forward, we're going to update you all on our progress. But rest assured, this is not necessarily online training. I really want the service provider to engage the client. Now, we do offer virtual, right, access, because not everybody can make it, and with COVID and whatnot, we need to be sensitive to that. But heavy engagement, okay? So I'm with you. It has to be heavy engagement built into this.
Devon, just a quick question. Are these courses, are they one session, or could they be multiple sessions?
They're multiple sessions. So for example, if I come to you and I say, wow, and you look at this, right? And you're like, you know what, the services I offer line up to design and build, and I'd like to talk about product building and maybe value proposition design, okay? So what happens there is I say, okay, well, do you teach that in 1 hour? Do you need a couple of hours with the client? What does that look like? And so each of these are going to be unique in time frame, okay, and depth, okay, again. So, it's going to take me working very closely with the various service providers to say, hey, where do you think you fit in? What do you think that course is going to look like? How do you want to deliver it? Does that help?
It does. And so
Okay.
just as a follow-up, say I came in and after my initial assessment, I was at 1. How long do we envision taking your regular entrepreneur from stage 1 to stage 8? Is that
So
6 months, 9 months?
So I have to be careful with this, right? Because some of this has to be self-paced, right? It's what an entrepreneur is ready for. You've got some folks who decided that I'm quitting my job and I'm stepping out on faith and I've got time to attend everything and anything, right? You've got some people who are still working full-time and, they've started their business, so it may take them longer, okay? So there's no rush or time limitation to how long it takes you. It's really powered by the entrepreneur. I will say with the case management piece, my hope is having someone with them on the journey. There's kind of a push to at least continue to have progress. Part of the way that I wanted to establish this is, Melissa, can you go back? One of the pieces, and I don't know if we put it up here, but this is a relationship between BIC and the entrepreneur. And so this is almost, it's not a contract, but it's a contract. And it says that we're going to provide you services, and we're going to be your thought partner, and we're going to be your journey partner. But if you're going to come in and start this, we expect that you continue to move forward, and we're going to kind of help you do that. Does that answer your question?
It certainly does, and I'm just thinking about, having worked for many, many years with entrepreneurs, a lot of them are quick to want to go to market, I'll put it that way. And so just trying to understand how long that process is, because if we've worked with entrepreneurs, I've got the next best sliced bread. And I'm already engaged in conversations with X, Y, and Z. And if you tell me, this may take 6 or 9 months, perhaps this isn't for me, or I may get in gung-ho, but after 45 days, this prospect is burning a hole in my pocket that I want to pursue. So I'm just trying to better understand how it kind of flows in and out.
Well, and I just would add, I appreciate the question. I think it's an excellent question, and I take that question as constructive feedback, Scott, because I think we should estimate, if I'm coming in with a burning desire to get from 1 to 8, what is the shortest time frame for me to get there? So how much time, how many courses, how many hours is engaged in that, if we would just to roughly estimate that. And I think that becomes a part of our sales pitch when we put it out there too, that you can get through this program in 9 months, if you're committed. But to your point, it may take you, as long as you're willing to dedicate yourself, it may take you longer. So, but I think that's constructive feedback. And we can't answer that question, but I think as we really
build it out more.
As we build it out more, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the other thing, like coming at, when I was talking to Rhonda, that I was concerned about was not just assessing people, but begin the education process about what the entrepreneurial journey entails. And that it is best to roll out ready than not ready, because the market will eat you and spit you out, right? And so kind of tempering people without taking away their passion, but being very realistic about that.
I appreciate that.
And I think that's the only way that the survival rate, right, will increase.
As a former lender, I appreciate that, because I can't tell you how many people we had to turn down for a loan because they didn't have that basic education aspect to even start a business. So I get it and appreciate that, and really commend you on taking that approach.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say from somebody that's still in the fight as an entrepreneur, right? That entrepreneurs respond to other entrepreneurs, right? So it's one thing to be in a class and to be learning it. It's completely different when you are having a conversation with somebody that is telling you that, hey, what they're telling you is absolutely the truth because this is how it really is, right? One of the things that I say I don't like it, but really I think probably the better word is I disagree with people glorify the positivity of being entrepreneurship without talking about the sleepless nights.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? The robbing Peter to pay Paul, for lack of a better word. You know what I'm saying? So, I think when you put this together, it needs to be real, man. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be real because we are razor thin anyway with our chances of success, given all the other things that we have to contend with, right? But to sow a seed that is not rooted in reality is even more of a disservice, because when you lose as an entrepreneur, it's not just you losing, your family's losing, what you've invested is gone, right? So I just want to make sure that we understand that as you put this together, man, it just needs to be real, and oftentimes that realness has to come from somebody that is not on the paper, that is not, because when I look at the teacher, I'm looking at the teacher like, this is a teacher, this is what somebody taught her to teach me this. You understand what I'm saying? And oftentimes you have teacher students, but when you have somebody that is actively living in it, right, I just think that, you need to incorporate that to make sure that people understand what goes into being a real entrepreneur and being successful.
So, a couple of things that I heard from that, now it's important to integrate entrepreneurial-led education and training. So I would pull someone like you, right?
Absolutely.
So you're both an entrepreneur and teaching about marketing and social media. So that's critical. The other thing I think I'm hearing, I'm thinking about resolution to your push, is having even a buddy system as, to pairing entrepreneurs together, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe one who is on phase 1 and maybe one who's on phase 5 or 6. They're still stumbling forward, both of them, right? But one's been further along in the path. And so that there's a mentor both ways, right? The 5 mentors the 1, and there's a 8 that mentors the 5. So I think I'm picking that up. The other thing I hear is that with assessment, there probably needs to be some type of onboarding before you step into this model that prepares you for what the entrepreneurial journey really is about. And like, I'm here with you because, one of the first things I do with clients is I do a level set, okay? And they don't hear sunshine from me. They hear about all the things that, and it's not about things that can go wrong, it's about being in the thorough of entrepreneurship. It's gonna mess with your mind, it's gonna mess with your heart, it's gonna mess with your health, and everybody who's attached to you. We're not even talking about your money, okay? And then oftentimes you are the brand, regardless of the name of your company, and that comes with it, right, a whole nother host of challenges. So I think the last thing, Melissa, that I'm hearing there is that it's really important to have the people who are involved in the training and education, that they deliver their content from a very realistic perspective, right? So putting context to what they're teaching. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. That's really appreciated. And just know that this is part of the group that will constantly be providing feedback as we develop this, okay? Because I'm seeing you guys as my thought partner in the creation of this so that it's successful. So I would hope that all of you all would be as frank as you have been. And if you see something and you're like, Dee, that ain't gonna cut it, please push back, because we want to make sure that we deliver a product that not only is sustainable for us, but for the client that we're trying to serve. Ms. Sonia?
Provide long-term education. I have the Emerging Leaders Program. I just want to give you some information. It is a 6-month program, and to be honest with you, a lot of people did not want to go 6 months, could not, or did not want to have time to complete the assignments, but they did. So I would say being transparent at the beginning, let people know and understand this is a long-term program, and their willingness will be there. Otherwise, you're going to look at people dropping off. And what you want to do is make sure this person or client's going to be there, they're going to finish and complete. So I'm very proud of my class. Another thing is that the thing about my class has made it to withstand 6 months is a collaboration with each other. So we changed the mechanism from a teacher being in front of the class to having CEO groups within the class. Entrepreneurs are leaders. So they're leading that class. you know, when there's not a webinar or whatever, they're leading the group with discussions. And that collaboration right there has made them want to stay.
I like that,
Yes.
because what I'm thinking then is that at each phase, you have the phase one CEO group, and they can collaborate and share experiences and challenges and whatnot. So again, it's a little bit under that mentor piece, but I really like that. Herbert, you are with Kevin, you don't get to talk.
I don't want to talk. I want him to, he's been raising his hand for a while.
University, so let's talk about some of the early offerings, you know, that are coming up in the future slides.
But the rest of my work and research is connecting with each service provider to
Yes.
take a look at this
Yes.
and say, one, what's missing, and two, how did you line up? So you've given the push of technology. I would sit and say, okay, is that a whole nother step, or do I need to integrate some of your offerings throughout this model?
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go.
Let's go from a paper napkin to maybe PowerPoint. Right? Or maybe get really sophisticated and let's start doing some coding. Right?
That's right.
Now the next step, design, ideation, proofing. I think we can incorporate technology in all of this.
Okay.
All the way through.
All the way through, right. It's all the way through. So I think there's a caveat. I think at each point there should be, how does technology impact this?
Okay.
How does technology? Maybe we don't have the answer. Maybe we go to them. I want to start a brick and mortar hamburger stand. Well, my technology might not be that critical at the start, but at some point, maybe in step 4, it's going to be real, you know, critical if you got to present to stakeholders, you know, some Excel sheets with your business proposition, you know, things like that. So I think it should be a step through it, and a follow on too. But just my thoughts.
All right, ladies, are they gonna like do an assessment where they're gonna self-evaluate, or is somebody gonna say, yeah, you're in step 2? Or are they gonna pick it themselves because somebody might think they're a 7 when they're really a 1?
So again, I love these questions because I don't know yet, but it would seem to me, okay, that the way Rhonda and I were talking about this is that we would sit down with that individual and go through this set of questions and criteria, and then sit down and collaboratively decide, okay, what phase do we think you're at? Here's our recommendation. Where do you think you are? And really, you know, in my mind, to your point, we have to allow the entrepreneur, right, to make their own decision. So we can give the recommendation that maybe you need to start at 2, but they think that they're ready for, you know, 3 or 4, okay? What I suspect is, given the feedback that, you know, we've received tonight, that if they're not ready for it, they will soon figure that out, right? And along with, don't forget, there's that case management piece. So there's someone that's assigned, there's mentoring built in. So I think there's some, you know, we're gonna have to build some fail safes of people being a bit too exuberant, you know, and thinking they're ready for things that they're not. But here's one of the things I wanna say, because I'm kind of picking up a little bit of this with the questions. We are trying to provide a mechanism, okay, for entrepreneurs.
You know, when people run their mouths and they talk a lot of stuff with their
We're not saying if you go through this model, you're going to be successful.
Right.
What we are saying is that we are increasing the probability of your success if you matriculate through this model the way that we intended, right? And that if at any point in time that you feel that you're faltering, I'm hoping that we have built it in a way that we can catch you, right? And help get you upright, dust you off, and move you to the next phase of the journey. But at no point is there a guarantee that, you know, you're gonna, this is not a certification-based model. It's nothing like that, okay? Now, as the model and BIC matures, as a program and a service in and of itself, okay? There's some things that we see long-term that we would like to be able to do, particularly under the umbrella of being having the accelerator type activities integrated into this, where, you know, maybe we can start to provide grant capital. So I would love to have you baked in that you're doing this. that we can say, hey, go over to her and apply for this because it's out there. And to build some relationships where we can pull in even more viable resources for our entrepreneurs to take advantage of. Okay. But, you know, this is in its infancy, and I think one of the things, you know, when Kevin asked me to come and really work on the BIC with Herbert, for us to really grow and scale this, was to build the infrastructure for it, okay? Because this is not funded, okay? And so we're starting with our community, and we're trying to capitalize on its collective skill sets and resources, integrate it into the model, and then as BIC itself matures, that also the model capability and capacity matures, okay? Any more questions, input, feedback from you guys?
What about costs? I haven't heard anything about how much the program costs.
So right now, there are no costs. So us working with our service providers to this point, when I go through the courses that we're going to talk about, those don't have cost.
Well, and I want to jump in because I said this to Scott, it's an unfunded program right now.
Yes.
So it hadn't been funded yet. But the goal is to make it cost-free to the end user, the client. But there are real costs associated with it. So we need funding partners, right? So we need help.
We need your business cards
We
on the
need
table.
help. Scott Love, I told him.
Yep.
Alexandria, we need help. The bankers that are here, Sharon Johnson, SBA, we need help. We need help that anybody that would want to partner, co-brain, collaborate, adopt us as a emerging enterprise. I mean, we're being very transparent tonight. This is a new endeavor. It isn't funded, but we know that it meets a need, a demand in our community. We know it responds to a problem statement that none of us are happy with. And so if we can collaborate, connect the dots, organize the resources, this is the opportunity to do it. And so I really would ask anybody who has an idea about funding this idea, and thank God we got Devon, because you know, she can operate on a lot of levels for us. She's got ideas about how to get some funding, and we're going to ask her to help us with that, as well as others. So Keisha Allen, we need help. Louisville Forward got money, the city government, we need help. So anybody's got any ideas on that, let us know.
And I'll be reaching out to each one of you all over the next, not this semester. So I'm gonna have to wait till January. But I'll be, you know, slowly reaching out to each of you all to have a one-on-one, to sit down and really do a deeper dive. Because I truly want this to be a collaborative effort. Whether you provide a service within this model or not, you're out there engaging entrepreneurs. And I want to glean your experience that you are having while engaging them. So, Ben, you had another thing?
Yeah, I've got my community at EDI, so I think that'd be a good place to ask. I'm on her board of overseers.
And we got U of L represented in the room.
Right, Jose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a leg up.
Yeah.
I'm also going to go to the new mayor. So we've got two new big leaders here in the community that are really interested in the West End. So I think we need to go there.
Thank you, Ben.
As advisory board members. One of the things that Kevin wanted me to work on was kind of formalizing this a bit more, really with the intent of helping us really push forward the BIC initiative and get a lot of that support work done. So I won't take a lot. Where are we on time?
Yeah, we got about 10 minutes.
Okay, so what I'm going to just fly through these. We're going to send these to you all via email. Basically what this is that we have 4 committees. It provides you with a definition and the role of that committee. I would ask that each of you all pick at least one that you'd be willing to kind of serve on. And the whole point with that is, unlike your typical board of trustees and traditional boards, you all will be more of thought partners as we design out the BIC and its services and products, okay? So let's go ahead and push through these. Also, I'm going to be asking for people to either self-nominate, volunteer, or have people nominate someone to lead each one of the committees as well. So we will be putting that ask out, and we will be sending that to you all as well. There is a questionnaire that came with the invitation, and I'm going to plead with you all to take the time to fill that out, because that's providing me with some of the data and information I need to kind of go to the next steps with the BIC work. This is, and we'll send this out and share this with you all, but what I would like to be able to do is to meet with you all at least once a month to reconvene. One, to update you on progress, but again, to get your input as thought partners and thought leaders in the community around entrepreneurship. So this was to just kind of give you an idea of the meeting cadence, okay?
Will those be virtual meetings?
We can, yes, we can do both. We can make them virtual, and then we can have them located here, okay? This is the course catalog build out that Kevin was talking about. So when we started in May, we were very fortunate to have a number of service providers who came on deck and provided some training to some of our entrepreneurial clients for LCCC. And so these are some of the, we've confirmed with SBA, working on with the business administration on some of their courses, and then you see some of the things that are in the works. What this will eventually mature into is an entire, what would be like a course curriculum, okay, that's lined up against each one of those phases, okay? But right now, we're just offering training, kind of ad hoc approach, until I'm able to start really aligning the courses against the model, okay? And so I've kind of gone over next steps, but again, we'll share that with you. I think the biggest thing is that we really need you all support. I would ask that, you know, if you can attend the meetings, it would be so much appreciated. But most importantly, when I reach out to you all individually, for me to be able to get on your calendars and spend some time with you chatting, okay? I want to thank everyone for coming, and I appreciate you all's time. I will give it back over to Kevin, but I will say that I'm very excited to be working in this space. I've spent my career in government, from federal to state to local, in political appointed roles. And so I'm really familiar with the landscape and the fabric of not only Louisville, but the state. I'm a policy wonk. I'm a trained economist. And so I look at the world a little different. And then I'm an Aggie, so a lot of people are surprised, but I grew up on a farm, and my both degrees are in agriculture. I'm an agricultural economist by trade. So I kind of, you know, I come at this uniquely, but my family owns 2 businesses, and I understand the struggle and I understand the journey. And so this comes from my heart, like this, the real deal. Like, you can't pull it over me, because I've seen it all. And I think, you know, that is the value that I think Kevin sees me bringing to this effort, is that I grew up as a young entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur, but I also have been on the other side, where I've been responsible for managing programs to provide services. So I hope you all find that of value as well, as we start to develop relationships to really build out the BIC. So thank you very
Let's
much.
give Devon a hand. Braden Center of Kentucky, who made a trek over here. Did you drive?
You know, the reflection is that you're all heading in the right direction. I mean, whether it is that you talked about, you know, in terms of the conference that you had on with the panel and the award program and things of that nature, that's how you create momentum. I've got in my mind, I've always said that, you know, with program management, you got to almost, you know, create three different boxes. You got to create awareness, and then that awareness leads to understanding, and then the last one, it leads to action. And so you've already started with the awareness part, you're creating the understanding right now through this program and what have you, and eventually we're going to see more and more of the action. So thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to working with you all on this. Kevin, I met you recently at a great event through another Rotarian, Ben.
Yeah.
And Sonia, I've known you for a good 20-25 years. It's good to be back here and connect with all of you, and look forward to figuring out a way to make this happen.
Thank you, and thanks everybody. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
There's a motion to adjourn.